Okay, so first of all, I apologize for the delay in this virtual school visit for the Doris Henderson Newcomer School. This school was amazing when I first um, started to research this school and other newcomer schools that were inside the states. And the first thing that I noticed about this school was the diversity that was represented here. These students at newcomer school are invited to attend this school within their first year, second year of formal schooling in the U.S. So after which they are transitioned into a public school in their district, I'm assuming. But what I also found interesting was the fact that these students or the school was founded on the principle that the former superintendent thought that the school was necessary because their test scores were being very much impacted by the students and their lack of the English language. So these students are introduced to the English language. They're introduced to literacy at this school, and they are also introduced to just the becoming acclimated to school, to the United States types of schools, to formal schooling, to different extracurricular activities that our schools typically have. And what I found interesting was even within the leadership of the school, their principal is from Pakistan. And I thought that was very interesting because, well, not really interesting, but just a great thing to have at a school that is an international school, because you want someone that is not really of the States, but someone who recognizes that there is going to be differences and some trials in a student that has come from a different country, regardless of their immigration or my refugee status. There are going to be some trials there. So I thought that was very interesting about the school and their leadership team. Another thing that I thought was interesting is the fact that they have what they call a community involvement um, liaisons. Let's see if I can find it because I remember. Here it is. The community liaisons represent some of the ethnic or ethnicities that are probably represented at the school: French, Spanish, Vietnamese, and Arabic. They have a high Arabic population at this school, and definitely a high Spanish population. And I think sometimes we miss that even in traditional public schools. We feel like if schools have diverse students, then we don't need anybody from the community to help us with how to teach these students, or the social inequities that may become or may be involved in educating these students. So these liaisons do a good job of making a connection between school and home. And they also are very good with helping our parents to become acclimated to the expectations of what public school will be like in the state of North Carolina. So I think that the school has not just have a principal that is from a different country, but you definitely need other resources to kind of make the school successful. And having community liaisons is definitely a part of that, because we know that we can't exclude parents and the community and other stakeholders when we're trying to build a successful school, or not really a successful school, but a global citizen. So another thing that I thought was interesting in this school is if you take a look at I think it was a calendar. Oh, I already have it pulled up. So if you take a look at the lunch menu for these students vary in options, and I thought it was culturally relevant to the students that they're going to be serving. So I find it interesting that they're not only offering American food, but they offer foods for students that traditionally don't eat pizza or chicken nuggets or that kind of thing. But if you see over here, they offer different foods like Asian food, or they offer General's chicken. Um, what else did I see here? Hummus, and just different, like, for, I guess, for vegans and for vegetarian um, students, they offer those types of things too. And I think that this school has a potential to be successful because they incorporate language, they incorporate religion, they incorporate social needs, and they make that a priority for student learning. They're not just going to be colonized with the American way of education. They take into account the fact that these students do not come from America and are not of America, and therefore they are going to be learning a little different. And their school staff represents teachers who understand that way of thinking, that I cannot, yes, I'm going to expose them to some American traditions in public schools, but I'm not going to make that my focus and be narrow-minded in my teaching. Um, Another thing that I thought was interesting is their parent academy. So they have this parent academy that parents can, it's far, the level of the depth of parent academy is remarkable, and I feel like each school system should have it, because the parent academy is a piece of the school system that allows parents to sign up for workshops and to become knowledgeable about policies, about homework, about anything, about support for them if they want to go back to school themselves, or about language, anything that you can think of that they feel like is necessary as a parent. The a parent academy offers that, and I thought that that was very, very different, because I'm like, sometimes school systems are not, they don't want parents to be involved because they feel like parents are not smart enough to make decisions about their child's education. But really, if you don't have the parent or community, then you're really not doing a good service to the student, because you need to understand what the generations before the child looks like. So including parents and just having those options, especially the social piece, because the liaisons also do a good job of trying to um, relate the parent to help the parent with social needs. If there's anything in the public that's being offered for students of color, or for students that are international and not from the States, these liaisons help kind of with resources that may be available. It kind of reminds me of a Mexican community that's in my local school district, and a Mexican society is a society that has been built and is trying to kind of, because we have a growing Hispanic population, they are making themselves known for parent advocacy and student advocacy. So it's just another way to try to make sure that education is equitable and attainable, accessible for all learners, no matter where they're from. Um, so that is, in a nutshell, what I have thought about the schools here. I also noticed that they have they had an international parade, and they have where did I see it? They had a parade of flags, and what a prideful way to try to um, just help students to feel empowered and feel like they have a voice because of the ownership of where they're from, and the fact that the school acknowledges that. So I would definitely take pride in showing the American flag if I were a student and I lived in Africa. I want to know people recognize that, and that they respect that. And that's about it. There's a lot of things up here that are useful for parents. It's very user friendly. They have lots of videos also here. Oh, here is where I saw the parade of flags for Spirit Week, I believe it was. Um, and I thought that it was just a great way to, maybe it wasn't Spirit Week. Okay. Oh, International Day. There it was. Um, and they had students from Brazil there, Venezuela. My internet is slow because the hotel's internet is slow. So they had a Pakistani dance, and that was amazing. They also had two African dances. So they have students here from all over the place, and they honor that, and I think that that's important for, like I said, for just the student voice and the power that comes behind that.